room of Budget Inn Express in Grand Forks on December 5th. Fargo man was arrested for drunken driving and DUI test refusal after he struck a BNSF freight train with his car in downtown Fargo early this morning. Police found 39-year-old John Ockwall in the driver's seat. They quickly determined that Ockwall had been drinking. He was checked at a hospital and then taken to the Cass County Jail. It happened near Main Avenue and Broadway. At about 1:45, Ockwall's car was heavily damaged. A crossarm was also damaged.
911, what's your emergency?
Hey, I'm calling about this train that's on fire out by Cass.
It was 7 years ago today that an oil train ignited after striking a derailed grain car, spilling more than 400,000 gallons of crude oil, causing a fiery collision about a mile west of Castleton and the evacuation of many of the town's residents because of the thick smoke coming from the fires. Castleton Fire Chief Tim McLean and his volunteer fire department were first on the scene.
Nobody really talks about it anymore. Somebody might mention it in passing or something, but I think it's like everything, it's big when it happens, and then everybody's memory kind of fades. And, once in a while we'll discuss it when we're at the fire hall or something. And, remember how cold it was? And remember we could feel the heat when those cars went up. And, it's just a few memories.
McLean didn't ever expect to battle Bakken crude, but he says nearly everything went right that day. The same message he told a U.S. Senate subcommittee investigating disaster response not long after the derailment. McLean, who was retiring the first of the new year from the fire department after 35 years, 15 years as fire chief, says valuable lessons were learned from the disaster. Fargo-Moorhead, partly cloudy tonight after seeing a high of our current reading of 20 this afternoon. We've seen a bit more sun than expected also. Again, partly cloudy overnight, 4 for the overnight low. Tomorrow, partly sunny near 22. Friday is New Year's Day and 26, partly sunny. Upper 20s Saturday, partly sunny. Mid-30s for Sunday, partly sunny. We do have sunshine again. It's 20. Paul Juergens, News Radio, KFGO.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne?
The Mighty 790 KFGO, good afternoon, and welcome back to The Drive. KFGO time is 4:11, 11 after 4. We continue to dominate the KFGO airwaves with our eclectic use of bumper music.
Good word for it.
I asked Paulie to find me some Old Lang Syne, and he gives us the Beach Boys version.
Somebody mislabeled this one.
No, I think this is terrific.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're getting ready for New Year's. New Year's Eve is tomorrow. People making New Year's resolutions. And I tell you what, I found a gentleman, a professor who's he's got it right. And I thought he should join us and talk about New Year's resolutions. Dr. Richard Ryan is Professor Emeritus of Psychology at the University of Rochester and a clinical psychologist. And Dr. Ryan is co-founder of Self-Determination Theory, which is a broad framework for study of human motivation and personality. And its starting point is the idea that humans have the natural or intrinsic tendency to behave in effective and healthful ways. So if you want to make a New Year's resolution that really makes you happy, think about the ways in which you can contribute to the world. Dr. Richard Ryan joins us this afternoon. Dr. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, Dan, I'm glad to be with you.
We've already talked a little bit on the phone here this afternoon, and I wanted to pick it up right where we were talking about. And, I just love your theory. Can you explain or expand on your self-determination theory?
Well, it's really a theory about human thriving and what makes people well, what makes it our best when we're in workplaces or classrooms or on sport fields. And so it's a theory about, I guess you could say, our basic psychological needs, the things that really make us happy.
And I like the way that you've said this, that we all have a tendency to behave in effective and healthful ways almost intrinsically. And the thing that I think of immediately, though, is when we were going through this pandemic year of 2020, and we're trying to convince people to wear a mask because it's not about you, it's about everybody else. I'll protect me from you, you protect me from you by wearing a mask. Everybody wears
absolutely.
A mask. So
absolutely, and I think when people understand that it's about the other people, they can get really motivated to do it.
Well, I think you're right about that. I was just explaining to Dr. Ryan before we went on the air that North Dakota was number 1 in the world per capita in COVID cases a couple of weeks ago. And I think everybody's done a really great job about getting the word out that, we're doing this. North Dakotans care about each other. And now we dropped to like the mid-40s on that list. I think once the word got out that you're helping your neighbor. So why does the rest of the world, why are we having so much problem doing the right thing here, Dr. Ryan?
Well, I think we had a lot of people had some unfortunate misinformation come their way. I think a lot of people didn't really understand the dangers for other people that not wearing a mask entailed. And in fact, now that information's out there, I think people are showing that they do care by wearing them. And I'm glad to hear that North Dakota's moved in that direction.
Absolutely. I think the true North Dakota spirit started to shine through once word got through to people that, wash your hands, keep your distance, wear a mask.
Well, you haven't been alone in that. We've been studying this around the world. There's been different countries that have struggled with it, and really it is about messaging. It's about our community, and it's about trying to help the others that are out there. And I think that's really what gets people mobilized.
Dr. Richard Ryan is joining us today. He's professor at the Institute of Positive Psychology and Education. What an amazing background he's got. But we wanted to have him on because we wanted to talk about New Year's resolutions that will sink in, have teeth. So what is the problem with most New Year's resolutions, Dr. Ryan?
Well, I'm a motivational psychologist, and I've seen a lot of studies on this. And the sad thing is most people's New Year's resolutions don't really last out the month. A lot of it is that they choose some goals that they really don't have their heart in, or they don't have a good plan, and it can fall apart.
Well, and it often does. I'll tell you, I'll put myself in that category that they don't last longer than a month. Usually they're athletic related. If the goal is one that's not authentic and not really coming from your own values, your own interests, it's tough to stick with it, I suppose. That's what you're saying?
Well, I think that's true. And then I also think, a lot of times we have kind of an abstract plan. Unless we make it really specific, we probably won't be able to carry it out. And one of the things we find is, if you're going to have a goal, see if you can find an interesting way to pull it off, or do it with a friend, because if you're not going to find some enjoyment in it, it's really not likely to last.
So before we get to what we should do, are there any resolutions that are really bad, toxic, direction you shouldn't go?
Well, I think the one that is probably the most notorious is weight loss. I think a lot of people set weight loss goals, and they can be quickly disappointed and desist. I think health goals can be really good if you're really behind them. And I think a good New Year's resolution is to make that a process, not get hung up on a specific weight loss goal, but try and introduce some physical activity every week, some changes that will be moving you in that direction, but you can actually control.
So let's talk about things, going back to where we started, self-determination theory. So keeping that in mind, and that your belief that the idea all humans have a natural or intrinsic tendency to behave in effective and healthful ways, what is the best way to set a New Year's resolution, and what would be some great ideas?
Well, I think, where we started this conversation is if you're trying to think of a goal that will really not only do good in the world, but make you happy, it's do something benevolent for somebody else. One of the things that we find over and over is when people are doing for others, it really satisfies them. It makes their life richer. And it satisfies the basic psychological needs. It makes you feel more effective, more autonomous, and more connected with your world. And so people who set those kind of goals for New Year's, those are the ones that are going to come away a few months from now feeling a lot better. Well,
and boy, I can't agree with you more. Losing weight kind of hurts. You're going to the gym, kind of hurts. What doesn't hurt, what doesn't hurt is being good, is being kind, is being thoughtful.
Absolutely.
We talked about this through the holiday season. We have a Christmas program here, and we were able to help our fellow man to a certain degree, and all sorts of other people came along with us to help us get through this pandemic year. And we talked more than once about there's nothing like that feeling of reaching out and helping people. Bill Murray at the end of Scrooged, when he talks about you'll get greedy for this feeling, you're going to want this feeling once you start feeling how good it feels to reach out, to help, to do the right thing. So you're basically talking about doing stuff like that that's going to be easy to latch onto because you'll love that feeling.
Absolutely. I think we humans are built to be good. We're built to cooperate. We're built to do for others. And when we actually do that, we come away feeling really good.
Joining us today is Dr. Richard Ryan. We're talking about resolutions. Dr. Ryan is a motivational psychologist. He is a professor at the Institute of Positive Psychology and Education, and he has he's the co-founder of self-determination theory, which is the framework for study of human motivation and personality, and that is that all humans have the natural or intrinsic tendency to behave in effective and helpful ways, which takes us to New Year's resolutions and trying to do New Year's resolutions that are going to stick, be positive, help everybody out. So we're getting out of this horrible year. You're a psychologist. You must feel we've had people pee on the floor at cell phone stores this year. We've had anti-maskers go absolutely nuts on aircraft. We've seen all this wacky stuff go on, and I know it's from the pressure of the COVID and all the things that are going on. Do you have some special advice for 2021 when we're coming out of this?
Well, the first thing is, we get all the bad news whenever somebody does do any of those things you just named. All of us are exposed to that. But if you think about it, the vast majority of all of us are really trying to do the right thing. I think if you look around, most people will be wearing masks. Most people will be cooperating. Most people are doing the good. And I think it's it's about remembering that too, that we're built that way. And the other thing is, be proactive about it. Think of some ways you can really be helpful, and then you can have that kind of warm glow that you just spoke of that you've had through the holiday.
Do you set any resolutions? Do you have anything that you're thinking about as you go into the next year?
Yeah, I certainly do. I certainly have my own issues around time management because that's a thing I can make a plan for and be more strategic. And I also think about what are the things that really matter. So I think, New Year's resolutions is a good time to be reflective, think, what do I really care about, and can I do more of that? And for me, I have my own priorities about caring, in my family and outside of it. And I think probably every one of your audience members has that same thing if they reflect on it.
Dr. Richard Ryan is Professor Emeritus of Psychology, got his PhD at the University of Rochester, and has over 400 papers and books in the area of human motivation and well-being, including a best-selling book called Self-Determination Theory, Basic Psychological Needs in Motivation, Development, and Wellness. I imagine that is available at Amazon and all over the place, Dr. Ryan?
Yes, it is. And Dan, actually, my biggest credential is I've been to Fargo twice.
What?
Yeah, absolutely.
What were you doing? What were you doing in Fargo?
North Dakota State University is there, is not. I've been out there a couple of times.
How about that? Go Bison!
And I do understand that. You've got some sunshine right now, and here in Rochester, New York, where I am, we don't. So.
Well, where am I talking to you from, by the way?
I'm in Rochester right now. I'm back and forth between Australia and Rochester.
And I saw your credits and everything from Australia, and I was expecting you to have an Australian accent.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn an Australian accent, but it's not that easy.
This time of year, I think I'd be in Australia if I were you. Isn't it summer there right now?
Well, I'm going to require a vaccine to get back.
Oh, of course. What am I thinking? COVID stuff slips my mind just every night. And so what's the temp in Rochester?
Oh, I think we're right around freezing right now, probably about 32.
Oh, well, we can't brag. Like we're hot here. What are we, 20, Paulie?
19 degrees.
19. Gee, I got shorts on.
Well, you got a nice city out there.
Well, we sure do. Next time you're in town, I hope you'll stop by KFGO or at least give us a call, Dr. Ryan. It would be neat to meet you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Nice to meet you too, Dan.
Take care and have a happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year to you, and have a good resolution.
Yeah, thank you. Hope it lasts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Richard Ryan joining us today, motivational psychologist. Boy, is that a great message. Self-determination theory. The belief, the broad framework for the study of human motivation and personality, and the idea that humans have the natural or intrinsic tendency to behave in effective and helpful ways. I've always believed that. It comes out differently out of my mouth. I always say
That's true.
Like 90, 95% of us are really good people. We just wish we could bring everybody else along.
True.
It's 4:23 at the Mighty 790 KFGO. Good afternoon. You're listening to The Drive on the Mighty 790 KFGO.
The most trusted source for the information you need. KFGO.com.